Do you need money to start a new business?
No.
That's well, I was gonna say that's what we're gonna talk about here. And with me is my friend and fellow entrepreneur, Jonas Hansen. I know you don't call yourself an entrepreneur; you're calling yourself a businessman. I'm actually trying to do the same thing.
Or a capitalist.
What's that? Or a capitalist?
Yeah,
right.
I like
well, obviously you mean a spiritual capitalist. Right? Right. But Jonas, seriously, we're gonna talk about whether you need money to start a business, and I think you're a perfect person to talk about that because I had launched pretty much all of my businesses completely bootstrapped and self-financed, and by self-financed I mean practically with no money at all.
Yeah.
Right, and you kind of did the same thing. You're the CEO of a business called Pieces
I
on
would,
Paper.
yeah, Pieces
Tell
on
us
Paper.
about that.
I would say I tried both.
Right.
Because for me, my journey to the US from Denmark was that I sold my apartment in Denmark, and then I moved to the US with what you could call a lot of start capital. The weird part about the visa is you have to spend some of the money. So some of the money was gone, so I didn't have that much money left.
Right.
But I still had some money, so you could call that kind of a savings. But I would say, and now I don't have that money anymore because the first plan I had didn't really work out. So in theory, I guess if that was true, I should get a job now so I could do the business.
Right, if it was true. That
if it was true, but I don't.
Start, right.
Yeah, but I don't think it's true because, of course, you can still do business. You can call up people. You can try to close deals, and if you close deals, you make money. That's how you make money. That doesn't matter if you have, like the way I have always thought about that is if you have a job. I used to be a salesperson, and someone else created a system where I could sell their products.
Right.
But I could be the one who create the system and then sell my own products, or hire someone and they sell my system. So that's why you don't need money, because you can always sell something. There's always something to sell.
Right, but I recently did a video on this channel with 5 businesses that you can start today. Was the title of the video. I'm gonna link to that up here. Actually, right on top of your face probably, but I suggested things as just you can sell water, right, if you're at the right place at the right time. But people have this like, oh, they all want to be CEOs of a tech company or something like that. And sure, that can be your long-term goal, but you just start with making some damn money right here and now, right?
I think there is some kind of, like, I was thinking about it the other day actually. If you go into the medical industry, you probably need funding, because to get approved by the government, it takes a lot of years.
Sure.
But most businesses, like the business I'm doing right now, you can if you can design something and you can print it out and you can try to sell it. So it's a very simple, straightforward business, and everybody can do it if you own a phone. If you go that you can, even if you don't own a phone, you can go to all the stores and ask them. You can set up an online store. So it's almost, like you say, it's almost, you don't need any dollars at all.
I think one of the problems many people have, that if you have like this vague, it always starts as a vague dream. Maybe I should start a business, right? Maybe I want to make some money. But once you start doing that, the first thing people do, they go on Google and they punch in, how do I start a business?
Yeah.
And there are so many manuals or guides or whatever you want to call it that describe this. They all describe the same thing, but they tend to they're I don't know, they're written by other people that aren't really representatives of the average person, whatever that means, right? Typically, they're written by these blog posts about this. They're written by serial entrepreneurs who invested in successful companies, and like, oh yeah, you should just do what I did and raise capital, find investors. I'm like, no. That's, you can do that the second or third time around, right?
Yeah, and if you actually, if you want to go and get funding, you should realize that's a job too. You're selling yourself and your company. So you can go and sell and try to build your company yourself, you can get funding. But if you go with the funding way, you spend a lot of time getting that funding too.
A lot of time.
You do. So you should just realize that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So of course you can do it, but you don't. Your question was, do you need to do it? And you don't. You don't need to do it.
Right, and
it's a choice. It's something you can do if that's your strategy.
Right. I think I'm actually, for the first time in my entire life right now, I'm actually contemplating. I'm negotiating with potential investors.
Okay.
I don't need these investors for my new company. it's right now it's another bootstrapped operation, right? But so here's my challenge, I guess, is that I'm looking at this company. I think I can grow this company to be worth, that's my goal at least, to be worth, to gross about $100 to $200 million a year in a 3 to 5 year period.
Okay, yeah.
That's the goal I have. But if I run this as a bootstrap business, the first stage of this is going to take a lot longer. I think I'm going to add probably, this is my estimate, probably 2 to 3 years to this process. But if someone were to inject, say, 2 to 5 million in this, I could probably do this, pull it off in 3 years or something like that. And I could do an exit, sell it for $1 billion. That's one of the options I'm contemplating on. And that would be the ideal scenario, because all we have is time, essentially, when we really break it down, right? So but what are your thoughts on that? If you were to guide me or counsel me, what would be your take on that? If I'm sure some people watching this are in a similar situation.
The way I would think about it, or at least I think about it, is I try to always say, what are the steps for this company?
Right.
I didn't used to do this, and I will say it went pretty horrible because I was just like always thinking in steps. Step 3. So if you know your step 1 is grow, my step right now is grow and hire. So step 2 is and then step 2 is when I hire the first person, and pretty fast I will hire the next one and so forth.
Right.
But if you put that down for your company, you can actually go in and see where is it that if I get funding I will be. Then you're suddenly maybe in step 6. And step 6, of course, will probably save you, like you say, 2 years. So in that sense, I think it's a good idea because you don't have, of course, a lot of time. And the reason why people don't like funding, I think, is because when we in the last episode, last time I was on, we talked about Dan Pena. And Dan Pena actually got kicked out from his own company.
Right, I heard of that, yeah.
And that's a possibility, but he still got rich. So if the objective is money, it was still maybe it's not a great thing, and he was probably sad that day he lost it, but then he was like, okay, I need to do something else. And that's the great thing about being a capitalist. If your objective is money, but I don't mind if you want out there buy my company right now at $5 million, I'll probably sell it, because then I will be like, okay, maybe I could make it to 20, but if that's gonna take me 4 years, maybe it's better to take the money and just do something else, because then I'm starting on a higher step the next time.
Right.
So I would think I get it that you want to save like 3 years because you don't even know how old you're gonna be, and 3 years. Exactly. And maybe you want to do something completely different after you sell it.
And maybe I don't even want to sell it, but even so that it'll be a completely different company, and Right.
And I think it's important to always think about also what you want.
Okay, so what would you say? What would you say? I'm sorry, please. I cut you.
No, just ask.
Right. Okay. So for people watching this that are, I'm guessing most people watching this channel are either artists, some type of creative artists, or entrepreneurs. And I'm guessing most of them are running online businesses or are in the process of starting an online business. So what would you say if, for instance, people are in the early stages of starting a digital marketing agency or a web shop of some sort? I think those are the 2 most common ones right now. What would you say if they don't have any money? How would you advise them to go about it?
I will definitely start by putting down my steps. And step 1 will definitely be, how do I get the money?
And it's not what money?
The money you want, the revenue. How do you get revenue for this company?
Right.
And if you have like a digital agency, let's say that, the way I will look at it is, okay, you need to call people actually there, I think.
Right.
Email, call, some networking of some sort, set up meetings, close some deals. And that's something you can do yourself. You don't even need a salesperson. You can just do it yourself.
Right.
So it's always important to set up those steps, because I think it's easier. Because I will just start up with if it's very practical, I will start up with a simple website. I used to spend a lot of time making, I want to make a great online store and do all that stuff.
Website,
But it's,
perfect
there's no
presence,
such,
right?
no perfect presence, no perfect website. It doesn't exist.
No, it's
Just
nonsense.
create a lot of content, tell people how you are making websites. It's so much better than the competition. This is the best websites ever and stuff like that.
Right.
And also call people at the same time. So you have to, in the startup steps, everyone in step one should work more than, I'll say, at least 60. How many hours would you say you have to work at least? 60 hours? At least.
I guess it depends on what you're trying to build, but that ties back in with what you said. The first thing you do is you write down the steps you need to take, right?
Yes, exactly.
And of course maybe you don't know exactly all the steps, but you probably have some vague idea of at least the first 2-3 steps or something.
But it's because the reason with the steps is, before you even put it maybe in a step, okay, you want this coolest website because then people can see you are very good at creating websites, if that's what you want.
Right.
The problem is you're going to spend a lot of time and you're not going to have any visitors to your website. So you need some kind of, okay, I will start off with a more simple website and then I'm just going to try to get clients and I'm going to build my website and also get clients. That means you have to work in a normal job, like your full-time job is getting the clients, and
right.
your after hours is going to be make that perfect website so you can slowly move into step 2.
Right.
Because step 2 in this sense would probably be you have leads, people are going to start contacting you.
Right, right.
Because that's, of course, is a way better business. You shouldn't sit around selling all the day. You can just have 20 people calling and you start, especially if you're doing it. Yeah, other people doing it. That's up to you, of course, what your steps, because I never understood it, but some people don't want to have a big company. They want to stop at 5 or 2 employees. And that's what you want, of course, that's okay. But you should at least know that's what you want. And it's because a lot of people, they say that they don't want to grow, but it seems they just don't want to think about growing. And I don't think that's the same. It's like you...
Right. It's probably impossible to grow if you don't think about growing or what it entails, right?
And then suddenly it's just a job and you keep doing the same stuff. You don't create any new content. And
right.
Because if I'm going to call out every day in my business right now, I can only call, I don't know how many hours, but let's say I could call 8 hours a day because I also need still to check emails. I still need to fix others' problems. And then if I want to call 20 hours a day, I need someone else. Right. I need to hire. And that's the only way you grow. So if I keep just calling myself and not doing anything and I don't have any plan with it, I will just keep being me calling people.
Right.
So that doesn't work. You need what is the goal of calling?
Yeah, why are you doing it?
Why are you calling people?
That's very but essential. But that's more like to having an overall strategy. So let's talk about something else. Now you suggested 60 hours, right? Not something else, but I'm again let's think about the people watching this. So if you just started an online business or something like that, or if you're just about to do so, right?
You mean if you have another job, maybe?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah,
How do you balance that? Because what I write in Spiritual Capitalism is that you need to wake up every day and realize that building your own business, working for yourself, essentially, that is your #1 priority. But how do you actually do that?
I would say I learned that from you, actually, because I've always thought in long-term and short-term goals.
Right.
But I realized, maybe not after reading, but at least talking to you, and then you put it in the book. So I realized that for me, it works best if I get up a little earlier and work on my own stuff.
Right.
So if I had a job, I will try to see if I could get up early and work on my own stuff. You could also do it when you get home at night, but the problem is that a lot of time after 9 hours and maybe 8 hours and 1 to 2 hours in traffic,
you're just gonna completely beat, right? Yeah.
So it's so much better if you just know when I get home after work, I can just go to bed. Maybe I can just talk to my wife or whatever you do and then go to bed. Right. And then get up and I'm going to work. And it's actually funny because I learned it also because I was reading a lot about how to be an author.
Right.
And all the authors, most of them said, you need to get up in the morning and write before you go to work.
Right.
Because the problem also, if you do it afterwards, is then your friends want to meet and stuff again. For a lot of people, it's hard to say no. But if you get up in the morning, I try to get up at 4 a.m.
Right.
I have
you did
never
for
met,
a while, right?
yeah, I mean, I'm going back to it slowly. I think I'm back at 6 now, so I'm closer now again. But but even at 6, I have never met anyone who wants to do a morning meeting with me at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
They don't want to meet me. They don't even want to talk to me at 4 a.m.
No, yeah,
So you're
don't
just
call me at 4
completely
a.m.
alone for like 4 hours. Of course, in the US, it's a little different because you have the time zones to New York. So
Right, that's true. Right.
yeah, so they can probably actually call me from 6.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so that's if I had a job, I will think about how many hours do I think I can do without like completely burning out, because I think sleep for most people is important.
Right.
And so I would do that. At least you could at least work. I would at least say at least 1 hour Monday to Friday, and then you could probably also do a lot of work in the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Because I would say even if I had a wife and you have to work on a Saturday, but if you just told them I'm only going to work for 5 hours and then we could do something, then it's still going to be 10 extra hours.
Right.
Just
each week,
Saturday,
each
Sunday.
and every week.
Yeah.
520 extra hours a year, right?
Exactly. So I think you could at least, and also at least an online business. And if you have a paycheck coming in, I actually think that could be pretty cool, because then you have your paycheck and you can work on a very long-term strategy. But because what I was talking about was someone who don't have any money. You're on step 1. You need to have money coming in.
Right. You need a cash flow. Yeah.
You need cash flow, but the cash flow here is just your job, and then you doing the other thing to change your kind of your destiny, I guess.
Okay, so that's a great place to end this video, and let's talk about that in another video. And
yeah, let's do it.
For now, but I absolutely agree with you. And I think it's a really important point, even though you can't put in 60 hours a week. I think it's really important, because when I've tried to do it myself, I was working full time and even sometimes doing double shifts, and then I came home from work and then I tried to work on my business projects.
But I remember you built actually a YouTube channel having you worked more than 40 hours, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked a lot more than 40 hours.
Yeah, you worked a lot of that period. You also had time to meet
But the reason it worked was because I would get up, I would have a deadline for my corporate job, typically at midnight or something like that, and I was like, if I started now doing my corporate job, like I would probably have a couple hours in the other end. But I'm not gonna start out with that, because I'm gonna be tired and my cognitive resources are gonna be depleted. You know, I need to just start out by working on the YouTube channel.
And the cool thing about having a deadline, you know that too, is if you really have a corporate deadline, and it's 12. You're going to finish it at 12.
You are going to finish at 12,
You are just going to finish it. Even if, oh, damn, I need to work fast now, you're going to do it. But if it was your own stuff, you'll probably be like, oh, maybe I should just go to bed, or else I'm tired tomorrow. And
this is discipline hacking.
It is. It really is. Just get up in the morning. It's discipline. Or at least what you write in the book. Start with your own. So if you have it like you had with the deadlines, at least, because it could be you go into the office at 9, but if you don't have a boss looking over you, a lot of people can maybe make an hour of work in the office and then just go home an hour later. So they still work the same, so they don't take anything from the people who are paying the bills for them. But I think that could work too. I will definitely do something like that.
Something like that. All right. I hope this is useful to everyone watching this. And Jonas, we're going to talk to you again soon. And thanks for being on Spiritual Capitalism.
Yeah, thanks for having me.